Hey, what's up everybody? Mark Labar here, and in this video we'll be showing you how to submit and commit and all these different terms and contribute to a GitHub repository. Now this is a public video, but it's more of a training video for my game dev team. So first you're going to need Godot, and we're using the standard 64-bit version. There's also Linux and Mac if you want. And you're going to need a GitHub account, so you can go ahead and create one over here. I already have, and I'm logged in. And finally, you're going to have to go to desktop.github.com to download GitHub for desktop. There's a Mac version and a Linux version, probably for Git, but I like using the GitHub desktop application. So after you do all of that, you're going to need to tell me your username and your email over here in the GitHub channel, or just DM it to me so that I can add you to our GitHub repository. And a repository is just a collection of all your project files, and you can think of GitHub as a fancy version of Google Drive for your coding projects. So after you have told me your name and your email, I will invite you to the GitHub repository that we're using for From the Ground Up, and you'll be able to accept that, excuse me, and gain access to our project. So after you've done all that, you will open up GitHub Desktop, and you'll probably be met with a welcome screen, though I'm not, because I've already done that. You'll probably see some repositories in the bottom right, and you'll see From the Ground Up there if you've been added, and you can go ahead and clone from there. Or if you're from the screen that I'm using, you can just click up here, current repository, hit add, and clone repository. And here you'll see under your repositories, you should see Mark Labar From the Ground Up. You're going to want to select that, and you'll get a warning here. And to remove that warning, you're going to have to choose an empty folder. You're probably going to have to create a new one. I made one on my desktop. So just create a new folder somewhere, making sure it's empty, and select that folder, and you'll take care of that warning there. And then you're going to hit clone, and it's going to take the files from the GitHub server and stick them onto your local PC. So now you have all of the game files in that particular folder. So you can see all of them by going to that folder, which is right here. You'll have a .git ignore folder file, and From the Ground Up, this will be the game project files there. So they'll be on your desktop or wherever you put them. So we'll go over here to current branch. We see that it's the development branch, and the way that these branches work is that you have your main branch, which is basically our stable build branch. And then down under that is our development branch, which we will be using for all of our features. But don't edit directly into the development branch. First create your own branch so that you can then merge those changes into the dev branch, which can then be merged into the main branch. So first click New Branch here. You can name this whatever you want, but make sure that it is in basically lowercase with the spaces as hyphens, and make sure your name is there, or your username, so that we know who you are and what branch this is. So I named this Mark Sandbox. You could also say Jimmy Cool Zone 10 or whatever you want, as long as it has your name on it. We'll create the branch, and here we go. We're in this branch now, and we have some new options. So if you do get an option for, okay, what branch do you want to clone from? Do you want to clone from development or main or some other branch? Make sure you're cloning from the development branch when you're creating your new branch. So I didn't get that option, probably because the branches are the same right now. So I have our Mark Sandbox branch. If we go to our folder, this now should contain Mark Sandbox project files. So let's say we wanted to make a change here. In our project files, I'm working on a new feature or something, and you open that up in Godot, and here we go. And here's where some problems come up. You got to pay attention real close here. So you can edit scripts without any extra steps because they are text files that can be merged together even if two people are working on the same file in their own individual branches. However, you can't do that with scene files or any other sort of binary file like a PNG or whatever else you got. So if you're editing a binary file, if you're editing a scene file like the world scene here, let's say I wanted to change this. Before you do any of that, go over here to the GitHub channel under programming, and you want to say that you're working on world.tscn. And you set that over there and make sure that no one else is working on the same scene either, because these changes cannot be merged together. For instance, if Mark Sandbox is changing this scene file and Annie Sandbox, a different branch, is changing the same scene file, and they both try to merge into the development branch, well, that's not going to work because they're two different files there and they're not script files that can be merged. So one of them is going to have to back down and let the other person submit to the branch, and then that other person, let's say Annie, will have to then pull down from the development branch into her branch the changes and scenes that I made, that I changed, and then she's going to have to redo all of her changes. We don't want that. So make sure that no one else is working on it, then say that you're working on it, and we'll do a simple change here. We'll just rename this file so that they all kind of match up, bush 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's a change I made. We're going to save this with Control S, and keep in mind that if you are creating a new scene, maybe using the button up here or right clicking down here, you don't have to go through these extra steps on Discord. Or if you are, duplicating or cloning or creating a new scene, you don't have to do that. Only if you are editing a currently existing scene, like we just did. So we did that. We're going to close out Godot. And here we go. We see our change that's been made over here, one changed file. We're going to say, okay, we renamed the bush. Oops. I got my microphone on my keyboard, so it's kind of hard to type. So you can also give it a description if it's a more complex change. Then we're going to commit it to Mark Sandbox. This is still in our local file system and our local branch, but we can publish it. So we're going to hit publish to branch. It'll push to origin, which means our change is now going to be on the GitHub servers. So that is only for Mark Sandbox still. To get it to the development branch, let's create a pull request. You're going to have to do this, and then, okay, we'll keep that the same. You can write a comment for anything specific that you want someone to look at. And on this pull request, you're going to have to set some reviewers or some assignees. So set myself on here. So you're going to want to set me to review your pull request. I got to make sure that, okay, things look good to bring this into the development branch. Or you could add someone else if you want. Someone who's familiar with Godot and the project files that you're working on. That would be great too. Or both of us if you like. So after you write a comment there, you're going to create the pull request. And I can't set any reviewers or anything like that because, well, no one has been added to this project yet. That'll come a bit later. So after you have now created your pull request, it's going to sit here for a while. I will be notified to take a look at it. And if I say, okay, this looks pretty good, I've checked out the changes, I'm going to now merge this pull request. So this will be my job, not yours, though, unless you've been added on as a reviewer by someone else. So this is kind of a peer review process, which is pretty handy. So it says successfully merged and closed. Now the Mark Sandbox branch can be safely deleted. So, oh boy, this is really important. Let me get some water. Do not delete your branch before you get this AOK message. If you delete your branch before this message, you will lose all of your project files, all of the changes that you have made, and they will be gone. Now there are a couple ways to get them back through Git and command line commands and things like that, but it is a bit of a pain and they might just be deleted forever. So never delete your branch before you get this AOK message and you're sure that you don't have any other changes to commit or merge. So just to avoid removing and deleting all your files, you might actually just want to reuse this branch and just pull down more recent files from the dev branch, whatever you want to do. But we are A-OK here. We can delete this. You don't have to. You can reuse it for your next feature that you're working on or anything like that. But I'm going to delete it. So I've made sure that I don't have any other changes to merge. I've gotten the A-OK there. And now all of our files are gone, but they have been merged into the development branch. And we can see by this check mark that we're currently in the dev branch. So these project files here, these are all development branch project files. So if we open this up, we will actually see that our bush has not been changed. So it's not bush 1. And what happened? Well, this is still the local file storage, local development files. We need to get them from the server. So click Fetch Origin, and this should update all of our development files if we hit Pull Origin now. Pull 2 commits from the origin remote. So we made changes in Mark Sandbox. We sent those to GitHub, but those were only on the GitHub server development branch. Now we have brought that, and pretty much it's called a sync, I guess you could say. And we've now synced our development branch files, our local files, with the server files. Sorry if I sound distracted, my dogs are really loud right now. So we can now open this up. Trying to ignore my dogs, but they're really loud. And we see now that the development changes that we merged earlier have been committed and changed into our local files. We have bush 1. So everything looks good now. And remember, before you create a new branch, make sure that your development branch locally has been fetched from the origin. You got the most up-to-date version, so to speak. So I'm thinking now, and I don't think there's anything else that we need to cover. There are a couple other handy features of GitHub, but those will be for other videos, and if you want to learn them, you can simply learn them on YouTube. People have many GitHub tutorial videos and documentation as well. So you can check all that out there. And I think we are all set, except for one last thing. You need to say that you are done with world.tscn, and only send this after your changes have been confirmed and merged. So basically when we were set and okay to delete our Mark Sandbox branch, that's the time that you can then say, okay, I'm done with world.tscn. And then someone else can go, okay, he's done with that, now I will start editing this scene if I need to. Well, thank you all for being here. I hope that the development continues on and that you all have fun doing it.